Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido, and today we're coming from Ulu Island where the macros are hosting the Montana Vera Sylphs as we kick off Victory Road 2, and that pressure is being exerted by King Gambit. Let's have a look at this tale of the tape as the macros coming in 5th place, the Sylphs seated in 12th. Both sides actually having lost their last game to get into Victory Road. The Sylphs barely making it in thanks to a loss happening to the Aquas. But with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the Steel types? Will it be the Ghost types? Let's go.
3, 2, 1, go!
And this is our first quarter trial match as Chandelure is going to go for that dig. It is joined by Skeledirge. It is Empoleon and King Gambit starting out for the macros as the Sacred Fire from Skeledirge onto Empoleon, that water type, and preventing it from being super effective, allowing Empoleon to respond with the Prismatic Laser. They are on the offensive both sides here. Massive damage being done to Skeledirge as the Smog from King Gambit is going to be avoided by Chandelure, who is still buried underground, but it is going to finish off that dig. Super effective there onto King Gambit, and Skeledirge is going to follow it up with the Wild Charge onto the part Dark type. They're getting some good damage, but a little bit of recoil damage for the Fire Ghost type as Empoleon has to recharge. King Gambit is left to do the work, and it is going to go for the T time. So everyone is going to chow down on their Leopard Berries, and this is our first matchup in Victory Road 2's quarter trials here. So whoever loses this best of 3 series will be eliminated from Victory Road, and both these sides unfortunately were unable to make it into the Champions game last year. Even though they started off in the Elite Four, this time they have to go the long route to try and get there, as Chandelure is going to go with the Shadow Punch there. That is going to be resisted though by King Gambit as Skeledirge follows it up with the Giga Impact. It looks like now they want to get King Gambit off the field, even with some more not very effective damage there. This allows Empoleon to go for the Imprison very intelligently, so sealing those moves of the Sylphs as the charge being followed up from King Gambit onto Chandelure, getting that first damage onto the Fire Ghost type. But now Chandelure is going to be left to struggle, and they need to get Empoleon off the field to break this imprisonment seal, as Skeledirge thankfully has to recharge, but Empoleon looking to capitalize is going to go for the triple dive, but it looks like it is only going to need the double dive to eliminate Skeledirge with that super effective move, giving the Ula macros the early lead, and they have that control with the Imprison having been set up by Empoleon. As I said, the Sylphs need to get Empoleon off the field as that payday from King Gambit is not going to work. Those coins go straight through Chandelure as out comes Rotom in its fan form, and it will not be able to terrestrialize whilst that imprisonment is in place, but it does go for Empoleon very intelligently there. But there is that recoil damage as Chandelure is going to follow it up with its own struggle, but it has gone for King Gambit, putting King Gambit into knockout range. But still, they need to get Empoleon off. It's still early in the matchup here as the Night Days. Great damage being done to Rotom from Empoleon. It's followed up by the Rock Wrecker, and Rotom taking that super effective damage was unable to terrestrialize in this matchup. It has been eliminated. The Ulu macros are in full control as out comes Duskmire now onto the field. It's exerting its own pressure over the macros, but the Sylphs are the ones feeling it at the moment. As Chandelure continues to struggle, it does put Empoleon into knockout range, but that recoil damage has made Chandelure an easy target. The Mighty Cleave from Empoleon not doing that much damage to Duskmire as King Gambit has to recharge, and Duskmire needs to go for Empoleon here. Will it get the elimination? They have broken the imprisonment seal. The Montana Vera Sylphs are still in this. They have only lost 2 Pokemon so far. And there is that recoil damage for Duskmire as out comes Sandy Shocks. Now this is what should have happened when Rotom came onto the field. Sandy Shocks is going to terrestrialize into that Steel typing, and it has been a massive threat for the macros against any side this season. Truly embracing this form, especially when teamed up with Magnezone, as Sandy Shocks is going to go for the Thunderbolt, capitalizing on its normal electric typing to eliminate Duskmire from this match. Chandelure though is going to respond with the Fling, but unfortunately that is going to fail. This allows King Gambit to try and capitalize, going for another Tea time, and whilst this is happening, Sandy Shocks will chow down on its berry. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing, please leave a like, share, subscribe, help this channel go so we can have more Victory Roads for many seasons to come, as out comes the Hisuian Typhlosion for the Sylph. Sandy Shocks immediately with the Leer to meet it is going to lower those defenses of both Fire Ghost types. Not that Chandelure has much to work with. Typhlosion though with the Wrap on to Sandy Shocks. Not very effective, but that passive damage will follow up. Bam, wrap there by Typhlosion. Chandelure is going to go with the Bolt Strike onto KingNido to get the elimination. The Sylphs definitely needed that one on the board. It is now a 4 versus 3 matchup in favor of the Ulula Macros as that wrap is starting to affect Sandy Shocks. And it is now going to be Excadrill coming out with that Mold Breaker ability as well. Sandy Shocks is going to go with the Iron Defense, so it is going to boost that physical defense a great deal. It's already base 97. Typhlosion though with the Stun Spore onto Excadrill, trying to slow it down, and it is going to leave it with that paralysis, so it may be unable to move. This could allow Chandelure to try and capitalize here. They need an elimination. It goes for the Psycho Cut. Unfortunately, it's not very effective onto Excadrill, but it does get that critical hit as Excadrill is going to respond with the Bone Rush. It gets that first connection on Typhlosion, and the second connection, it is a 2-hit wonder. That super effective move has taken Typhlosion out of this matchup, and Chandelure, who has been in since the very start, is still out on the field, as it is now going to be joined by Sinistra with that all-important Hospitality ability as well. It is going to restore some of the health of Chandelure here, but Sandy Shock still with that speed control goes for the bounce. It is going to spring up high into the sky. The Sylphs need to focus onto Excadrill as Chandelure is going to go for the crunch, but it goes for Sandy Shocks, who is able to avoid that move. However, Sinistra is going to go with the last respects, and it eliminates Excadrill from this match with a fantastic connection, as now out comes Goodra in its Hisuian form. That bounce though from Sandy Shocks is going to be finished off super effective there, plus the critical hit onto Sinistra, as Chandelure is going to go for the Crush Grip onto Goodra. Not very effective, and with that gooey ability, it is going to slow down the speed of Chandelure. But we do get the Ice Spinner now from Sinistra, not very effective on to Sandy Shocks, who's no longer a part ground type. This allows a Crush Grip from Goodra, but unfortunately that goes straight through Sinistra. It is immune, as Sandy Shocks is going to follow it up though with the Darkest Lariat to finish Sinistra off there with those 2 super effective moves to take out the Park Grass type. Goodra following it up goes for the triple kick, but on that very first kick it goes straight through Chandelure. This opens the door for Chandelure to try and capitalize. It goes with the Judgment, bringing that Judgment down onto Sandy Shocks. Still not very effective, allowing Sandy Shocks to respond with the Hyper Beam, but that is not going to work there on Chandelure. Goodra needs to connect with something. Anything goes for the double edge, but it goes straight through Chandelure. This is what Chandelure needs to stay in this matchup. It is going to respond with the Heal Pulse. That is definitely not what it needs. It is going to restore the health of Goodra back to full strength, as Sandy Shocks with the Gust putting Chandelure back into knockout range, and Goodra follows it up with the Dragon Tail. This will not miss, and just like that, the Ulula Macros have taken game 1 in this 3-game series, which is going to put the Sylphs on the back foot, but they will be switching sides now as they do get restored. And it is going to be the Macros now with their regular abilities. That is Copperajah and Lucario coming out for the Macros. It's Goldango and Basculegion coming out for the Montana Vera Sylphs. Basculegion with that Mold Breaker ability, having its hidden ability. Lucario though with the speed control, with the Accelerock there on the part Water type. But Goldango does respond for its side with the Dark Pulse onto Copperajah. Great damage there as Basculegion follows it up with the String Shot. This is going to greatly lower the speed of the Macros, as the Sylphs are looking to take full speed control in the match. And Copperajah does go for the Syrup Bomb though onto Basculegion. Super effective, gets in some massive damage there, as the ice damage from Goldango is not very effective onto Copperajah. The Lash Out though, follow up response from Basculegion, putting Copperajah into knockout range. Lucario with the Poison Tail, but it goes for Goldango. It should know better, being a part Steel type. Copperajah though with the Mortal Spin will not work on Goldango, but more damage being done to Basculegion there, and that sheer force ability preventing the added effects to make that move stronger, as the Vice Grip now from Goldango onto Lucario, not very effective. Basculegion though is going to follow it up with the Torch Song. It is going to get a boost to its special attack, but not before it takes down Copperajah with that super effective move, giving the Sylphs the early lead here in game 2, as Lucario is going to respond with the Wild Bolt Storm. However, that is avoided by Basculegion, which surely would have been an elimination. It is getting some good damage though onto Goldango, as out comes Magnezone for the Ulula Macros. Goldango is trying to meet it with the Will-O-Wisp, but that will be avoided by Magnezone. Basculegion, however, is going to go with the Trick Room The Sylphs have full speed control, and they've just given it to the macros now, as Lucario is going to go with the Sacred Sword, but it goes straight through Goldengo there, those coins just phasing out of the way. However, that Water Pledge from Magnezone puts Basculegion into knockout range. Lucario looking to follow up now with that Trick Room in effect, the Ice Spinner onto Goldengo, getting some good chip damage for a not very effective move. Magnezone is going to follow it up with the Poison Fang, and Basculegion's able to hang on from that not very effective move, but it's left with the poison. That poison's what's going to finish it off. Badly poisoned or not, Basculegion's last move is going to be the up throw onto Lucario. Gets in some good chip damage there, as it does begin to cause that uproar. That will be the last we see of that, though, as Goldengo with its own roar is going to send Lucario back to the bench and been dragged out onto the field. It will be King Gambit, who does have that Supreme Overlord ability, and the macros did have it in that last slot as well, but it's been dragged out onto the field as that poisoning is now going to take Basculegion out of this match. And it's now Dragapult coming out for the Montana Barrier Sylphs. King Gambit, though, with the speed control on the field, goes for the Luster Purge on to Goldengo. Not very effective, gets in some chip damage and lowers that special defense of the Steel Ghost. Magnezone follows it up by setting up for the Solar Beam here. It will begin to absorb light on this turn. And Goldengo, though, looking to capitalize, goes with the Spirit Shackle onto King Gambit, doing very little, not very effective damage. But Dragapult, who is one of the quickest Pokemon, the second quickest in the PokeType League, have that Trick Room preventing it from being so, now goes with the Defog, lowering that evasiveness of King Gambit, as King Gambit is going to respond with the Energy Ball, going for Goldengo, putting it into knockout range. Magnezone could finish it off here. That special defense gets lowered. Magnezone with the Solar Beam, but it's going to go for Dragapult instead. Not very effective, but still gets in some great damage. Goldengo is still in this match, going with the Ice Shard, continuing to go for these Ice type moves. Is not very effective there. Critical hit, though, onto King Gambit, as Dragapult is going to follow up by setting up the Stealth Rocks here on the side of the Ula macros. They know that Lucario is back on the bench. They don't know the other two remaining members, as King Gambit with the Flame Charge onto Dragapult. Not very effective, and there is a speed boost here for King Gambit. Whilst this Trick Room is still in effect, the Aqua Step from Magnezone, it's going to get a speed boost as well. Still not very effective onto Dragapult. Are they trying to get that speed control after the Trick Room reverses, as the Stomping Tantrum from Goldengo, super effective, but doesn't actually do a great deal of damage onto King Gambit. The Aqua Jet from Dragapult chipping away here at King Gambit on the field, as the Twisted Dimensions do return to normal. Dragapult is still the quickest on the field. It's going to go for the Curse, though. It's going to cut into its own health. It may actually take itself out of this matchup, and that it does, to put the Curse onto Magnezone, I believe, as Magnezone is going to go for the Drop Kick. Not very effective on Goldengo, still in this matchup, lowering that physical attack. King Gambit could finish it off, though, going for the Synthesis. Instead, it is going to restore its health, and it almost gets itself back to full strength in the process, as Goldengo needs to go for something. It goes for the Zen Headbutt. Thankfully, it doesn't go for King Gambit, but it does practically nothing to Magnezone, who is beginning to feel the effects of that curse that was put on it by Dragapult. And it is going to be Sinister now, coming out for its second appearance in this series. The Sucker Punch from Magnezone, but there are no suckers on the side of the Sylphs, and this will leave King Gambit having to follow up with the Bulldoze. And speaking of suckers, it has just taken out Magnezone. What is King Gambit doing? It's super effective on its teammate, but it's also super effective on Goldengo. So it takes Magnezone out, and it takes out Goldengo. The macros still have the lead here, as that speed for Sinister will be lowered. However, Sinister is going to respond with the Blue Flare to get the elimination with that super effective move. King Gambit has been taken out of this matchup, and the field is now 3 versus 3, as out comes Dusknoir for the Sylphs. It is going to be Empoleon coming out to join Lucario here on the side of the macros, with those pointed stones digging into the steel types here on the field. And there is that Frisk ability of Dusknoir, but we know every Pokemon in the PokeType League for now is holding on to a Leopard Berry, as Lucario with the Confuse Ray is going to leave Dusknoir in a confused state. It needs to avoid doing damage to itself here on the field. The Sylphs, if they lose this game, they are out of Victory Road. The Astonish from Empoleon, super effective there onto Dusknoir, and it is flinched. It won't have to deal with the confusion because it's flinched, but the Aurora Beam here from Sinister, getting in that chip damage onto Lucario. Not very effective, as Lucario responds by setting up the Psychic Terrain here on the field, and it will be interesting to see if anybody can capitalize, as Lucario is a part fighting type. It doesn't want to take any psychic type damage, but Empoleon with the headbutt goes straight through Dusknoir here, who is still in a confused state. It needs to avoid doing damage to itself here though, and it is successful as it goes with the Electro Ball, but it goes for Lucario, putting it into knockout range with that critical hit. Surely it should have gone for Empoleon, as the Fire Blast though follow-up is going to eliminate Lucario. Fantastic play there by Sinistcha, going for those super effective moves, as now out comes Goodra once again in its Hisuian form, having those pointed stones dig into it. Is the last Pokemon for the macros. The Mist now being performed by Empoleon, making it so its side is shrouded in that mist, and Goodra with the light screen as well, making them stronger against special moves, especially after what Sinistcha has been doing in this matchup. But Dusknoir has snapped out of its confusion, allowing it to go and set up some more Stealth Rocks, but that is going to fail this time, and those entry hazards are irrelevant, as Sinistcha is going to go with the Electro Ball, and it will go for Empoleon, but unfortunately it does very little damage for a super effective move, allowing Goodra to go for the Clanging Scale. Some fantastic damage on the Ghost types as Goodra lowers its own defense in the process. Empoleon with the Leafage onto Dusknoir gets in some good damage, but Dusknoir is going to respond with the Thunder Fang. Great super effective damage onto Empoleon. And Sinistcha follows up with the Acrobatics, doing very little to Goodra. Surely should have gone for Empoleon there, who does respond with the Water Pledge to eliminate Dusknoir. Is now a 2 versus 2 matchup. The Sylphs soon will be sending out their last Pokemon, but first Goodra with the Sweet Scent here on the field is going to lower that evasiveness a great deal of Sinistcha, who does respond by setting up the Reflect on the side of the Sylphs, making them stronger against physical moves, as out comes Typhlosion in its Hisuian form with that Frisk ability, very similar to Dusknoir, revealing those Leopard Berries of the opposing side, as Typhlosion with the Milk Drink, but it's already at full strength, so that is going to fail, and this opens the door for Empoleon to go for the Aurora Veil, but it is not snowing over this field, so that's also going to fail, as Goodra is going to go with the Poison Fang onto Typhlosion. Very little damage being done there, allowing Sinistcha to go for the Confused Ray. This is going to leave Goodra in a confused state. It will need to avoid doing damage to itself, as Typhlosion could have the opportunity to capitalize. That weirdness will disappear from the field. Typhlosion with the Aqua Tail, this will be resisted there by Goodra on the field. However, it is still in a confused state, so it may be doing damage to itself here. However, it's successful in shaking off, going for the Fusion Bolt onto Typhlosion, getting in some good damage there, and Empoleon looking to follow it up, goes with the Water Gun, but this will be going for Sinistcha, not very effective, allowing Sinistcha to hang on, although it is in knockout range. It responds with the Chloroblast. It's going to take out Empoleon, but it takes out itself in the process. We're down to Typhlosion versus Goodra. Typhlosion needs to take out Goodra to keep the Sylph season hopes alive, whereas Goodra needs to not sacrifice itself, as we saw happen for the macros in their last game of the regulation season. This 1v1 matchup, Typhlosion is going to go with the Psychic Noise, going on the offensive, preventing Goodra from being able to heal as well. Very good to start off with, but Goodra has the open door to respond if it can shake off this confusion, and it is going to go with the Leaf Storm. This will be resisted by Typhlosion, but it takes a great deal of damage there after that critical hit. There is that special attack being lowered of Goodra, and Typhlosion responds with the Ivy Cudgel. This also is not very effective onto Goodra, who does tank that move. Goodra is still in a confused state. It needs to shake this off. It is going to go with the Agility, giving itself a massive speed boost. It should be able to take speed control here over Typhlosion, which is great for the macros. They want to shore up this series 2-0 and move on, as the winner will be facing either the Spike Myth Rockets or the Pony Stars. We get the Dragon Cheer from Goodra, who has just shaken off its confusion. However, that does fail, allowing the Imprison from Typhlosion. This would be a very intelligent play, but this is actually going to force Goodra to struggle, which means it goes on the offensive. It takes Typhlosion out, and just like that, the Montana Varicels have been taken out after 2 games. They were unable to get a victory over the Ula macros. This is terrible. The Sylphs have yet to win a game in Victory Road, or win a series, sorry, as they have been eliminated. The macros, the Steel types, will move on to face the winner of the Spike Myth Rockets and the Pony Stars. A fantastic showing here by the Ula macros, who've had a very up and down season. But with that said, we do still have our exhibition game. We will be playing that game 3 here. And the Sylphs looking for a little bit of redemption, as we do not know what's going on for them when they come to Victory Road. They do start out with Dragapult and Basculin Legion. It is going to be Excadrill and Revavroom starting out for the Ululu macros. Dragapult immediately on the offensive with the strength onto Excadrill. The Sylphs just trying to get back a little bit of pride. The macros trying to keep that momentum going. The Leaf Blade again, though, this is just an exhibition game, an unofficial matchup. The X-Scissor onto Dragapult from Excadrill, not very effective, allowing Basculin Legion to go for the Psy Shock onto the ground Steel type there. Very little damage though being done, but what has happened to the Sylphs? They barely made it into Victory Road. The overheat from Dragapult is going to eliminate Excadrill. This is what we expected from the Sylphs. That high octane damage does lower the special attack though of Dragapult, as Revavroom is going to go for the Weather Ball, but that will phase straight through Dragapult, as Basculin Legion looking to capitalize does go with the Giga Impact. And that is resisted, but still gets in some good damage there onto the Poison Steel type, as out comes Sandy Shocks for the Ula macros, who we said has had a great season for the macros as their Terrestrial Drafty, and it only needed to appear in one game. And when it has appeared with Magnezone, the macros have been an absolute dominating force, as those two pair up for an improbable tag team that make it very hard for any side to take down. The Soak though from Dragapult onto Revavroom is going to change it into a water type. The Sylphs could actually capitalize on that. However, it is the Fury Cutter from Sandy Shocks doing very little damage there to Dragapult, as Revavroom looks to follow it up with the Ember being resisted by Basculin Legion down there on the field, as it has to recharge. And Dragapult is going to ride that Surf. It's not very effective on the two water types on the field, being Revavroom with that new type in as the Ceaseless Edge onto Dragapult, puts it into knockout range from Sandy Shocks here, and those spikes do get scattered on the side of the Montana Vera Sylphs. Revavroom is going to follow it up with the Pain Split, very intelligently focusing in onto Basculin Legion there to get some health back, as Basculin Legion does respond with the Air Cutter, gets in some good damage onto Revavroom, not very effective onto Sandy Shocks, as Dragapult with the bounce, it is going to spring up high into the sky. But unbelievably, the Sylphs, who won the minor championship last season, are knocked out in the very first quarter trial here in Victory Road, as Revavroom with that focus energy, this critical play, it is getting pumped here early on in this exhibition game, as Basculin Legion with the Confuse Ray is going to leave Revavroom in a confused state, probably wondering why it's now a water type. And there is that bounce coming down hard onto Revavroom from Dragapult, as Sandy Shocks is going to go with the Clear Smog, focusing into Basculin Legion. They're not very effective, as all stat changes do get eliminated there, and Revavroom needs to shake off this confusion, as it is going to go with the Simple Beam, giving Dragapult that simple ability, ridding it of that clear body. And that cursed body, the Sylphs were unable to capitalize when they had that home field advantage, or that hidden ability advantage, sorry, as that Scale Shot will be avoided by Revavroom from Basculin Legion. And we get the Shell Side Arm there from Dragapult. It's able to take out Revavroom, who's regularly a poison type, with a poison type move, but even more so, it's normally immune thanks to that steel typing. But the Thunderfang in response, Dragapult's able to hang on there from Sandy Shocks. Basculin Legion with the Belly Drum, it is going to cut into its health to maximize that attack, which is base 112, but it's such an easy target now, as out comes Magnezone to join Sandy Shocks. Dragapult sets up the Burning Bulwark. The macros need to not go for physical damage there onto Dragapult. They will regret it. It is Sandy Shocks though with the Power Whip to take Basculin Legion out of this matchup with that super effective damage. Not that it really needed to go that over the top, as the Axe Kick from Magnezone, it is going to hit that Burning Bulwark. As Dragapult protects itself, that burn is going to leave Magnezone, but not just that, it is going to keep going and crashes, doing massive damage to itself as that burn begins to melt away at the Electric Steel type. And out comes Chandelure now, who had a strong showing in that first game, just unable to get those eliminations, lasting the whole matchup. The Steel Wing from Dragapult onto Sandy Shocks, not very effective, as Sandy Shocks is going to respond with the Malignant Chain to finally eliminate Dragapult from this matchup, leveling the playing field at 2v2, as Chandelure is going to respond with the Volt Tackle onto Sandy Shocks, getting some fantastic damage there in the process. However, it does have that recoil damage. Magnezone is going to go with the Facade, but that is not going to work on Chandelure, phasing straight through. But what is also still working is that burn, doing that damage to Magnezone as out comes Skeletorge to join its fellow Fire Ghost. However, it is hurt by those spikes. Sandy Shocks is going to go with the Chloroblast, doing very little damage to Skeletorge. And Sandy Shocks, just as we saw from Sinistcha earlier on, is going to eliminate itself from this matchup. But as we said, the macros, they are going to face either the Rockets or the Stars in our next game. The Hammer Arm is going to eliminate Magnezone there by Chandelure. It is going to lower its own speed in the process, but the Sylphs have just taken the 4-2 advantage in this exhibition game. Skeletorge just needs to not be reckless. It goes with the Tickle, but that is going to fail. There's no one to connect with. As out comes Lucario, it is going to be joined by Copperaja for the macros. Lucario is going to go with a Volt Tackle of its own on to Chandelure, gets the critical hit, putting it into knockout range. There is recoil damage for Lucario. Skeletorge responds with the Power Gem though on to Lucario, gets in some chip damage there on the part fighting type, as the Dark Void from Chandelure is not going to work thanks to some Dark Presence preventing that from happening. The recycle from Copperaja is going to fail as Lucario looks to do its part here with the Lumina Crash to finish Chandelure off, eliminating it from this exhibition game. And Skeletorge is going to respond by setting up the Future Sight here on to Copperaja. I wonder if it would have been better off though for it to set it up onto Lucario. The Dragon Breath in response from Copperaja onto Skeletorge, as out comes Goldengo for the Montana Verasylphs, landing in those spikes. That is the Rock Polish now from Lucario. It is going to boost its speed a great deal, but it's already got speed control as Goldengo is going to go for the Swift. This will not miss. However, it's not very effective either on the two members of the macro. Skeletorge follows it up with the Freeze Dry here onto Copperaja. Gets in some not very effective chip damage as Copperaja is going to respond with the Tri Attack, and it will try, but it will not succeed as that is not going to work on the Ghost types. The Close Combat from Lucario, it goes straight through Goldengo trying to do that, allowing Goldengo to respond with the Wing Attack. Super effective, sorry, not super effective, but gets in some good damage on the regularly fighting type as the Whirlwind from Skeletorge is going to fail. There is no bench to send them back to, allowing the Waterfall from Copperaja to eliminate Skeletorge. It is now a 2 versus 2 matchup. The macros are looking to take all 3 games here. And that Future Sight attack on Copperaja does not actually do that much damage, as the last Pokemon for the Sylphs is going to be Rotom here in that Frost form. And this is what should have happened in Game 1 when Rotom came onto the field. It should have shed its typings to become a Ghost type that it is all too familiar with, as this will be the last time we see this take place this season. Lucario is going to go for the Glare, but that Good as Gold ability from Goldengo prevents it from taking place, allowing Rotom to go for the Hold Back. But that is not a shiny Copperaja, but by the end of this season it could be, as Goldengo with the Forest Curse onto Lucario, adding that Grass type in. Just an Ember, you have to think, will now take Lucario out of this matchup, as the Forest Curse of its own from Copperaja unfortunately is going to fail, and as Lucario looks to do its part, goes with the Lash Out onto Goldengo. Super effective, putting Goldengo into knockout range with that critical play, as Rotom responds with the Dragon Rush onto Copperaja. Not very effective, getting some chip damage, and Goldengo follows it up with the Stockpile. It is going to Stockpile 1, boosting those defenses, both physical and special. But we have to wonder, what are the Sylphs going to do to try and bounce back next season and have a better performance? They almost missed out on Victory Road entirely this season after such a strong start. That Milk Drink from Lucario is going to restore its health, and the Volt Switch from Rotom, putting Copperaja into knockout range. It hangs on by a thread. Goldengo with the Gust on to Lucario, super effective. Sorry, as I try to collect my words, the Razor Leaf not very effective there from Copperaja onto both Ghost types, but not very effective, sorry, onto Goldengo. That Sweet Kiss is not going to work on the Good as Gold Goldengo, allowing Rotom to go with the Wood Hammer, bringing that hammer down onto Lucario. Not very effective, a little bit of recoil damage there for the Terrestrial Draftee, as Goldengo is going to go with the Reversal onto Lucario to get the elimination with that super effective move. Copperaja is still in this matchup, as it is going to respond with the Hydro Pump onto Goldango to get the immediate elimination in response, but this opens the door for Rotom to try and capitalize. It's going to respond with another hammer, bringing the Ice Hammer down onto Copperajah to eliminate it from this exhibition game. But that is it for the Sylphs. That is it for Rotom as the Terrestrial draftee. For the Ghost types, it will be the Steel type Ula Macros moving on to the semi-trials to face the winner of our next game, as it will be the Spike Myth Rockets hosting the Pony Stars, as every side looks to get to that PokeType League Champions title. But with that said, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome. I'll see you when you see me.